In starting, it didn't affect me so much. I took it as a break and I enjoyed myself, to be honest. And then after a month and a half, I started feeling really lazy and bored. So me and my parents decided that we have to get back on track again. For me, I would say online classes are totally different from in-person classes, because in-person classes, the student is responsible to remain mentally and physically present, and there is a different kind of bond between the teachers and the students. Being cut off from my school friends didn't affect me much, but I really miss the chit chats that we had in between the classes. Me and my parents had a really good bond during this pandemic time. We got to know each other really well, and they didn't let anything affect me mentally or physically at this point.
Some students might have felt excited about this change and the shift, the newness and the novelty of something like this, while others may have felt differently about it. So the solution lies again in doing what we can do in the best possible way. So for the students who've been able to still continue to maintain a sense of routine, having some set goals during the day, keeping a regular sleep-awake pattern, still continuing to practice some physical exercises from home.
The initial couple of weeks was kind of a laid back. It was different, but yes, it was good in a way because we could spend more time with the family.
At least that's what we thought during the initial lockdown.
The initial couple of weeks, maybe running into a month. It's pretty true that there was that thin line that was there, that one ends work at a specific time when you travel to office, because one has to travel back to home. Those mini time gaps or breaks that one used to enjoy, those me times that one used to have, that was something that we started missing out on, because there was this normal perception that since it was a lockdown and everyone was supposed to stay indoors, so there was no way out. You couldn't say that I'm traveling or I'm out, or because it was taken for granted that one was
You
home.
will be home.
So that was something that gradually started bothering us. It took us time.
Changed still, I would say that
It's still
the same, but we kind of went around and got our heads around the routine and tried to infuse more break times. It was a shared responsibility, and in that way we are very lucky to have each other, because we were able to manage manage the times between our kid and our profession. He's just a 4-year-old now, and then having to do online classes is something that is very disappointing, because this is the age when kids should actually run around in school, playing in parks and learning lots of things apart from just bookish knowledge. Both of us would agree that after a certain point of time we did notice certain changes in her usual happy child personality. We encouraged her in everything that her school wanted her to participate in, whether she could or whether she couldn't. We always engaged her, encouraged her in doing something, and the feeling of appreciation that she used to get after doing that, after performing, that gave her a big boost. We would have our friends come over and their kids come over. Sometimes we would go. So it was not.
It
was something in a very closed circle.
For parents, this has been certainly a difficult time of managing multiple roles and responsibilities, balancing between your work engagements and the needs and demands of everybody else in the house. You cannot expect perfection, you cannot expect too much, because you could manage this much. And it's important to reassure oneself that I did what I could do in the best possible way.
Working remotely was a challenge for me. It was completely unheard of before the COVID pandemic, and I had no idea that my career would also start in a similar fashion. So coping up with it almost felt like I was working alone, and it seemed a bit lonely. There was no scope of socializing, the work time and personal life, or actually having that work life balance, because sometimes due to certain deadlines I had to work till midnight. And similarly, I started waking up early in the mornings so that I could have a few hours just to myself to do all the things that I want to do. I was actually very uncertain about what will I do next. I received a job offer through campus placements after doing my masters, but they withdrew their offer. The company withdrew its offer right like couple of months after the pandemic hit, and that's when I was completely unsure what should be my next move.
A lot of young people, this time period would have been a unique experience of taking a step forward in their careers, attending their first day at job from home. You would have never visualized that rather than dressing up and actually going to the office and meeting your bosses and colleagues and peers, you would actually be doing all of this from home. Create a workspace, a designated workspace. Have your small nitty-gritties that you would need to make it your own space, and create your personal space, your space to take breaks, to have a fun time separately from your workspace. Taking short breaks in between work, and in those breaks, engaging and connecting with your peers and your colleagues, having more frequent conversations so that you're able to form that rapport that you're looking forward to in a physical space with them. As a leader, how you lead your young people joining in these difficult time periods of crisis, again, is a key factor on how young people are able to continue to maintain their sense of morale.